Welcome back. Your New York Yankees are 4-0 for the first time since 2003, in which they went to the World Series. I had to mention that. I mean, we mentioned it the first time, 3-0, but I guess they also went 4-0 in 2003, which I found out. So that's good. Joining you as always is yours truly, Jake Ellenbogen, Gary Sheffield. How you doing, man?
I'm doing amazing. First of all, I'm sitting here looking at the box score, trying to bring it in of what's actually happening because I'm shocked to see us sweep the Astros. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to get off to a hot start.
Well, we called it.
I mean, I feel like you may have called it. I don't want to give myself too much credit. I felt like I was hoping this would happen and that it was possible to happen.
Yeah.
And we talked about this lineup getting way better, and it did. It just flat out is better. And here's the best part about our lineup. If you look at the numbers and you just look at batting average, okay, and batting average doesn't mean everything. I've said this a few times. When your leadoff hitter, who's hit leadoff all 4 games of the year, in Gleyber Torres, is hitting a $133, your best player on the team, according to most people, is hitting a $125. Zops is $399 after the first series. All 4 games in Houston, essentially laying an egg. You've got Stanton, whose average is 214, his ops is 700. Verdugo's hitting 200. Trevino's hitting 143. You'd say, well, who did what?
How did this happen?
How did this happen? And my best answer is timely hitting and a proper approach. They just found the correct time to get a hit. That's all it was. And when players start to get their feet under them and they start to get hot, and we start to see Gleyber Torres taking better swings and Rizzo potentially taking even better swings. He had really good swings today. It's going to be a problem. We got out hit yesterday bad, and we won the game. Okay. You even said we got out hit, and it felt like we almost gave the game to them somehow. It's because, like, fundamentally, we're just playing a way better brand of baseball. And when I'm looking at it, it almost seems like a game of musical chairs. We put Birdie at third base, and he saves the game today. What is this culture change that just happened? Who's responsible, and why is it Juan Soto?
I mean, let's start off from the top here. Okay. The first thing, I mean, we glossed over this. This is huge. There was no punt lineup. Jahmai Jones wasn't leading off. You know, they didn't just pick up Ben Rice out of AAA to just throw the game away.
No, and Volpe was going to play, but he got sick. So
well, and that's another thing.
8 guys.
So Volpe, they find out right, and I mean, the graphic guys were probably like, they put out. Did you see? They put out the lineup, and Volpe was in it, and then they're like, "Oh, update." It's like Volpe's not in it, and then it comes out, "Oh, Volpe has a stomach ache or whatever." And I like that Boone, because regardless, we don't know what Volpe had. Obviously, I would assume he was sick. But Boone was like, no, he was sick. Like, he would have loved to play today. And I mean, we know Volpe. We know that he would have loved to play today. But the fact is, to come into this game looking for a sweep, to get awful news that one of your best players right now on the team, one of the best hitters, guy that's really, he's seen more up until this game. He had seen more pitches than any hitter on the Yankees. How is that possible? He's not leading off. He's just done a really nice job. He's seen 70. He is not going to play. So how do you respond? And this adds validity to going out and getting Birdie, because he's able to play third. You move Cabrera to short. I had some issues with Cabrera at short. Not going to lie. I don't love Cabrera at short. But you get Birdie in the lineup. He gets a hit today. He strikes out twice, but he had a huge stop in the 9th inning where I forget which hitter laced one down the left field line, and Birdie just knocked it down, was able to get the out at third. It was Altuve. You're not going to throw Altuve out, having to dive, full on dive, pick yourself back up and throw it. But because there were runners on, first and second, now that becomes a force out and you get the out at third. That was huge because Clay Holmes did not have it today. And I don't want to jump right to that, but just to see again, what have we talked about? What has been the constant with this team before we even get into Soto? It's been resilience. And I think a lot of, when you mentioned it, I think a lot of it has to do with just Soto's presence in the clubhouse.
How about that approach against Hader? How about that approach against Josh Hader? Are you freaking
That's one of the
me?
best at bats I've ever watched.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Gagne and Barry Bonds. That's what it reminded me of. And of course, is it the level of hitters and pitchers? Maybe not. But to watch that, Juan Soto essentially had nothing going for him that entire at bat. Just completely dominant. Okay. Josh Hader's fastball location was excellent. He threw him a front door slider, right? Completely surprised him with that pitch selection. Completely shocked Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Went fastball away and he fouls it off. And you're sitting there wondering, he's got to go back to that slider at some point. And if you actually break down the swing that Juan Soto took and went the other way with Gleyber Torres moving to third base on the pitch, that was as flat of a swing as I remember ever seeing. That's exactly what Oswaldo Cabrera was talking about. That's exactly the swing that Anthony Volpe told us he's trying to put into his game. If your best hitter right now, who's hitting 529, by the way, his ops is almost 1,400, is taking fundamental swings, and he's got more power than you, by the way, don't you think it would make sense for you to go to the plate next and take correct swings and not the swing that you like to take? That's the reason why our young players say that he's the guy who's figuratively a leader, one of the leaders in the locker room. It's because he leads by example. He doesn't just hit for batting average and then tell us about our swings and our approach. No, he goes up there, is perhaps overmatched by Josh Hader, and he makes an adjustment to the point where he can even the playing field. And ultimately, Juan Soto again won us the game. So
yeah,
I am trying to get people to understand that some players on our team have their approach and that's what works for them in their career. And there's other players that are at a different level that are performing. They're not just putting up numbers. They're doing it in a way that's going to make sure that our young players aren't just messing around and taking the swings that they enjoy. Essentially the swing that we saw Gleyber Torres take 2 years ago when we're like, why is he uppercutting when he hit 37 home runs? He's got the power. Why doesn't he take a short, compact swing and go the other way? Right? And then last year, he finally got that figured out and he started to return to form. There's a lot of other players in our lineup that can make that same adjustment, and Juan Soto is going to help him get there.
So to add to that, two things. First thing I want to bring up, you mentioned Gleyber. Gleyber getting on to bring up Juan Soto is just as big as Juan Soto's hit.
Huge.
So it does not matter. We talked about this the last episode. Doesn't matter if you hit the exit velocity 114, and it does not matter. First run of the game, was it Trevino's 59 exit velocity? And it was like,
yes.
What do you? Aaron Judge hit 114 miles an hour. Trevino hit 159. What do you think? Which one do you think knocked in a run? That's just baseball. So Torres being able to fight, claw his way to getting that hit off of one of the best pitchers, regardless of closer, reliever, he's one of the best pitchers, period, in the game. I mean, he is probably one of the most feared pitchers in the league. And the way Hader has just been annihilating Yankee batters in this series, you would think the Astros have been dominating the Yankees. I mean, he's been the only thing that you're like consistently like, Hader's going to come in and shut the door, but we're already losing. So Hader comes in and, he gets 2 outs, 2 strikeouts, actually. He ended up striking out Judge. But Torres getting on, just basically fisting the thing into right field, right over a first baseman, second baseman, in between the right fielder, getting on base, then having the wherewithal. And I don't know if this was, because this is a ballsy move, dude. I don't know if Boone was calling for the steal, but to steal with 2 outs and you have Soto at the plate, you're risking Soto not getting a chance to hit?
Well, we made that mistake yesterday. We got picked off at first base right in front of
Yes.
Juan Soto. He goes deep the other way. And let's be honest, that run that they scored with Gleyber Torres on the run, okay, that was a postseason run. That's the way that felt. For anyone who watches postseason baseball, which
They
anyone
wanted
watching
this game
this show,
so bad.
they did. Everyone knows what a postseason run looks like. If you watch playoff baseball, you don't usually see someone hit a double and then the next hitter just laces the ball in the gap. That's just not the way postseason baseball works. Usually, there'll be 2 outs. Someone will spray a single the other way. Everyone's locked in. A guy will go down 0-2. There'll be like a pass ball. A dude will battle back to 3-2 and then spray a ball in the hole and score a run. An ugly run, right?
Yeah, that's postseason baseball.
Those are runs the Yankees never scored last year. They never scored those runs. In our best years we ever played, we were scoring runs by way of Gary Sanchez goes deep, hits it 450 feet to left field. Okay? I know. Gleyber Torres goes deep against the Baltimore Orioles, 450 feet to left field. Giancarlo Stanton, they're back to back to back, right? The sexy runs. Those are the runs you score in August, in July, right?
It does not translate to October.
It doesn't. I mean,
some of it does, but
some,
home
runs are fun. And I would love to see guys hit home runs. We hit 3 of them yesterday. It's awesome. But what happens when you don't? What happens when those things, maybe they bring in a Josh Hader to come up with your best hitters. And today it happened. It happened. Juan Soto comes up and of course you'd like him to hit a home run, but Juan Soto has an ability and a skill set to decide that I can shrink down my approach to score these postseason runs that the Yankees could never score.
Exactly.
And we won today because of our approach. I thought it was an ugly game. It was ugly.
If Torres just found a way to win second, though, they don't win. I don't think he scores from first. No chance.
Oh, never. No shot.
So, and Judge is in a funk. And as much as I love Judge, and I absolutely love Judge, that was my guy in the draft. Going back that far, I loved Aaron Judge. With that said, I don't have the same feeling with Judge at the plate as I do with Soto. I feel like Soto is going to always hit the ball in play. I feel like if he doesn't, he's going to get on with a walk. I've never felt more confident about watching a Yankee batter in my life. Aaron Judge, when he's in a rhythm, you feel all he's ever going to do is hit a home run. But do you feel like he's going to be the guy to just smack the ball out opposite field the way Soto does? I don't know. Right. And so
I feel like I do. I feel like and trust me, I'm on your side here.
You feel like Judge is going to do that?
No, I do not. I'm saying I get the same feeling that you get. I don't watch Aaron Judge and say, well, he's going to get this done any means necessary. Not meaning that he doesn't have the wherewithal or the smarts. His approach is that I'm going to beat you in the best way I know how. And Juan Soto, you won't know how he's going to do it. He's just going to find a way. It might be 0-2. He might not even stride. And you'd think this is a player who's about to sign a $525 million contract. He's surely going to be taking big swings against Josh Hader in the 9th inning or 8th inning of a game. He's going to be taking monstrous swings trying to go upper deck. But Juan Soto is the type of player where he has the ability to take Justin Verlander to the upper deck in a World Series game at 19, 20 years old. And then he can turn around and face some reliever that's sidearm and then just fist the ball over the third baseman's head.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter to him. That's his approach. His approach is I'll do it sexy. I'll do it ugly. I'll do it anyway. So you can make the argument, and you tweeted this earlier, Jake, and I want to make sure you get the credit for it. You said that Juan Soto might be the best pure hitter in baseball. There's a reason we invented the term pure hitter and not just said best hitter. Because no, I don't think Juan Soto is the best hitter in Major League Baseball. But when it comes to making adjustments, doing it ugly, doing it sexy, there's not anyone else I would select outside of maybe Acuna and Mookie Betts. I mean, that's pretty much the list.
And it's funny, obviously my dad grew up with them, and he said, that's Don Mattingly right there. Don Mattingly used to hit those all day. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, just do whatever it takes to win. Soto, I mean, Soto is already, it only took 4 games. Soto is the guy. Okay. Now, Judge is going to figure things out. I think what's important to highlight here is, one, we're not hating on Judge. Okay. We're not. It's not what's happening. But 2, realize also to defend Judge. It's the first 4 games of the season. And also the Yankees made a conscientious effort to keep him healthy at the end of spring training. They chose not to use him, right?
That's right.
So a lot of those at-bats that he didn't get, Soto was still in the lineup, man. Soto was still in the lineup. He was still raking. And, you had, guys like Cabrera who used those last bunch of at-bats and fixed whatever issue they were in. Judge was just bombing home runs early on in spring training. Then they take him out, and now is he a little rusty? And I think it's fair to say he is. I also think it's fair to give him, a little bit of a pass, because if Torres gets on, doesn't steal, Soto walks, bases are now first and second, both are going to take off and steal second and third, right? They're just going to let the runners do it. Judge has a different approach. He doesn't always have a different approach, but I don't think he's trying that uppercut swing that we saw when Soto was on first. And I think
we can't act like we haven't seen Judge do it.
Exactly.
You don't hit 310, 305 by never making adjustments. So we're not getting out of hand with it, but there's no opportunity there's a reason Juan Soto has an opportunity to hit 350. Okay. It's not just bat to ball contact skills. It's also part of a mentality. And when you look at other guys in the lineup and you say, why is it that I would add a toe tap? Well, that's you essentially saying, I'm going to give up on some of the power game and forcing the power game, and I'm going to let the game come to me. Juan Soto is the most I'm going to let the baseball game come to me player ever. He might be that for this team. And by the way, Juan Soto is the opposite of what the Yankees baseball approach has been at the plate. It's just total opposite. Last year, we were like, well, what's Rizzo going to do? And he was at a torrid pace to hit home runs, but we've seen that all before. We saw Luke Voit doing the same thing, leaving the yard. It was fun. It was awesome, but we weren't seeing something that we hadn't seen before. This is something we haven't seen before. And by the way, Aaron Judge is still the best player on this team because he's not just Juan Soto is serviceable in the outfield. He's still going to be able to make the plays. He's going to be able to make the throws, which you saw. But Aaron Judge is special defensively. He's special offensively. And anytime you can say special on both sides of the ball, you're the best player on the team. So I'm just happy to see this team be able to scrape a few ugly wins and a few sexy ones and have Aaron Judge not do anything. Very unlike last year, where if he went, we went, and if he didn't go, we didn't go. He didn't do anything this series, and the Yankees are 4-0. We beat, you said it, our rivals. It's not anyone in the AL East. It's none of that. It is the Houston Astros that we have to prove we can beat. And so far, we've answered the bell.
And Michael Kay, the call at the end of the game was the arch rival Astros. So he gets it too. I'm glad that we're not trying to, and look, I understand rivalries go, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers destroys the Bears every year. Now Jordan Love's doing the same. The Yankees Red Sox is a rivalry, right? It is. And it is a long-standing rivalry. But is it as potent right now? Does it matter to beat the Red Sox the way it matters to beat the Astros right now? I would absolutely say, without a doubt, it means way more to beat the Astros. And that's just the way it is. It's not even a question. I mean, when the Red Sox are good again, okay, we can start having that conversation. Birdie gets the win. He looked good. It's funny, 2 birdies out there. I don't
like that.
It's kind of weird. Clay Holmes, comes in for the save. We talked about in the last episode, Clay Holmes should not have been out pitching. Okay. Goes back to what you initially said in one of our earlier episodes. You can kind of tell what kind of Clay Holmes you're going to get early on in at bats. He had one pitch where I was like, ooh, demon sinker. We're good. Mm-hmm. And then every pitch after that was like, we're not good. This is going to be tough. You texted me and you're like, I think we're done here. Like I think this is like GG's. This is done.
I didn't like the matchup because the matchup, you have to remember the situation we were in.
Well, it was awful.
Alvarez was up, and he's been flying out to the track and left field pretty much the whole series. Okay, so
do you know how pissed he was getting?
Oh, he was livid. He was livid. I don't know if you saw him slam his helmet, but I did.
Yeah.
And so he goes into the dugout. I'm like, well, obviously we got a break. But after that at bat, we still had Kyle Tucker. So we were going righty on lefty. I did not like that. That was just not the play for us.
The heart of the order. I think it just really, man, that is a brutal murder's row. And what isn't talked about is the way Diaz played in this series too. Like that's 5 guys right there. Bregman had a bad day, so you're like, oh God, if he gets on, what's he gonna do? I was impressed. Holmes hung in there. It wasn't great, and he needed a lot of help from, obviously a lot of help from the defense. Shout out to Doogie getting his first big, obviously the sack fly, and he had a nice catch. This was his pinstripe moment. This was his win. Like, realistically speaking, he went all out. When he made that sliding catch, you have to know the game's over if you don't catch that. It's over.
That is true.
They rolled the dice on that
today. If you really think about it. Okay, so we had Doogie, right?
Yeah.
Huge play in left field, which people have been saying he's been atrocious. And offensively, I mean, I thought he's been taking some really good at bats, so I want to give him some credit.
Yeah, his at bats are fine because that stuff just
are good.
It works itself out over the course of 162 games. That's why he ended up hitting 260 last year. Like, I'm not worried about Doogie at all.
No, not at all. So we had Doogie's play in left field, right? It was fantastic. The sack fly, awesome, right? But then we also had Juan Soto spraying the ball the other way in a grinder at bat off a hater. We also had Birdie making a phenomenal play.
Oh my God.
And diving play at third base. Yes. So
his hit, I think they took the lead on the Birdie RBI.
But regardless, just even defensively.
Yeah.
He hadn't played at third base the whole series.
And they just throw him in there and they just
throw him in.
Consummate professional.
Yeah. So he immediately, just to keep the ball in the infield, obviously we got an out of it. So that was great. But the fact that he made that play, okay, didn't like the at-bats from Trevino today.
All right. I'm not going to let this one go by the wayside. All right.
Didn't like the at-bats today.
I texted you expletives, but no, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
Why is he in at the end of the game like that? I love the way Boone's been managing, and we disagree with the way he used Holmes, but for the most part, he's managed this series very well.
Yes.
That bothered me because not only is Trevino not the best bat available in that sense. I mean, I take him over Jahmai Jones because he's already been in there. He's already seen these guys, whatever. But, Volpe's not an option. That's fine. But, like, he's not the best hitting catcher. Like, I mean, I don't even think he's the best catcher, period. I think Austin Wells has closed that gap enough. Throwing error was a problem. I understand Trevino had that, second inning RBI to take the lead. Okay. That's great. But I had such an issue with not only him being in there, Gary, but then he gets a liner off of Hader's leg. Okay. And
yeah,
I'm pretty sure 98% of the MLB is running this thing out, and he gets thrown out by a half step. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me right now? Like,
you know what I thought?
Really serious right now? How did he not beat that out?
Well, first off, I don't know, to answer your question. I have no idea how he didn't beat it out.
Stanton's beating that out.
Speed. Well, him and Gleyber Torres, they both don't beat it out. I've never seen either of those two players beat out anything. So that's just my take on it.
You gotta, well, and that's why I don't want Gleyber leading off. I like speed, but yes,
right.
Go ahead.
Yes, but we do like the speed up there. Yeah. But Trevino, I actually thought that Wells should have started this game, but this is what I would say. I'm cool with Trevino catching this game because I felt that Clark Schmidt can get pretty wild. That's the way I felt. And having said that, and this is, I guess, partially against that point is that Wells has kind of shown that he's good back there as a catcher. But I will say this, if someone's going to be demanding of a catcher back there, it's going to be Clark Schmidt. Okay. He's going to throw a lot of sinkers, a lot of cutters, a lot of junk. And so I was cool with Trevino starting this game. But where I had the problem is late in the game when bats are at a premium and you need the best possible at bats to be put forward. I didn't see how Austin Wells didn't come off the bench. I didn't get that. But this is what I would say. I personally can let it go in the short term and I guess long term because overall, Aaron Boone was excellent this series. Aaron Boone made really good decisions when it came to trusting his starting pitching at a time where I'm sure he came into the year and said, well, Gerrit Cole's out for the year. So all of us said, wow, they must be trading for another starting pitcher. And if they don't do that, that must mean that they're going to overutilize the bullpen. And Aaron Boone said, watch this. I'm going to do neither. I'm going to trust that Marcus Stroman and Clark Schmidt, my 3, 4, and 5 guys and my Rodons, I can squeeze an extra inning out of them. And they delivered. And then ultimately, we ended up winning the game. And we did that over and over and over again. Whereas last year, guys like Loizaga and Holmes and all these guys, and Ian Hamilton, they would have come out in the 4th. In the 4th inning, we would have been seeing guys relieving games. And you know what they would have told us post-game? We felt like we wanted to put our best guys on the field. Well, sometimes you don't have to always put your best player on the field until it's ready, until that situation calls for it. And the Yankees have been terrible at that. So having said that, Aaron Boone has done a really good job of making that adjustment this year and not shooting himself in the foot and essentially using these relievers as bailout plans. The only mistake he made so far in this series was Trevino hitting late in this game. And if that's his one mistake, we're going to win a lot of games.
I agree. I really like the way Boone managed this game, except for Holmes and, of course, the Trevino play.
What was it, Victor Gonzalez, who was going to pitch instead?
I thought he was going to pitch. I thought Tanner Tully as well. Tanner Tully has not pitched since spring training. Like, he's good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, for me, with Clark Schmidt, I liked how, and I know he ends up with a 5.06 ERA. Very overinflated there. Clark Schmidt, they were going to let him get out of that jam if he could, and they were going to keep pitching him. He had a 75 pitch count.
Yes.
He did not give them a choice when he had back-to-back liners, like hard line drives. They're like, okay, he's getting hit hard. But what I have to say is that Clark Schmidt looked awesome early on. I was truly impressed. He ended up giving up the 3 runs that I said he was going to give up. You can pretty much guarantee it's going to be 3 or lower, right? He's not going to get killed. He doesn't take too many risks. The home run given up to Altuve, I feel like Altuve was due. I'm not even going to hold it too much against him. Houston has power in this lineup, but at the same time, I mean, I thought he pitched better than what his numbers would have you suggest. I mean, really the guy I was most excited about pitcher today was Ferguson, to see what he got, because I had all sorts of Dodgers fans in my mentions telling me how bad he is. I think the Yankees have the best pitching coach in the major leagues. I think
the Dodgers think if someone doesn't pitch well there or hit well there, that
he's done.
They just have because I think people
Beater too.
Right. They think that because the Dodgers know how to develop young players so well, you saw with Gavin Lux, Cody Bellinger, right? I mean, we've seen it time and time again. They think that veteran players, they don't pitch well over there. Well, there just must be something wrong with him. He must stink. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, Jake's right. Jake Ellenbogen is right over the target. We have the best pitching coaching. That's all I can tell you. We have the best pitching coach, period. Okay? Matt Blake is phenomenal.
And enjoy him because he's going to be a manager.
He will be a manager at some point. And this is who was the Yankees hitting coach? Kevin Long. Remember when Kevin Long was our hitting coach and everyone just recognized, yeah, this guy's the best in the business?
Yeah.
That is who Matt Blake is on the other side of the diamond. So let's just enjoy it. And Caleb Ferguson, so far so good. He's been good. And the Yankees at this point seem like they're squeezing every lemon as hard as they can. And that's exactly what we asked them to do with no Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole, if we had to give a projection, they just said that June 1st is probably our target date, but not to give us a date, right? Because they don't want us to tweet him back on the field, which we won't. But we can assume he's going to be out until probably mid to late June. And guess what? If sweeping the Houston Astros in your first series of the season, that seems kind of like a necessity when you don't have the best pitcher in baseball and you won 85 or 82 games last year. So the Yankees at this point came into the year feeling like they were a starter short, which I would agree, feeling like we can probably use some more arms out in the bullpen given the situation, and probably feeling that their lineup was much improved. The lineup was probably the one bit of confidence that they were coming into the year with. And long behold, Matt Blake's squeezing every bit out of all these pitchers in our staff. Aaron Boone is trusting our starters to squeeze more innings out, and it's working. And long behold, our lineup's working. So at this point, you have to be thrilled as a Yankees fan that they're starting to not only make adjustments in terms of personnel and getting better guys in there to perform, but they're actually looking at their prior mistakes and saying, no, that what we were doing before, let's stop making excuses. Let's just not do that stuff. Let's just stop pulling guys in the third inning and saying, well, my best pitcher right now is this reliever, so he's just on the mound, and then he ends up pitching 60 times this year. That's not a sustainable way to win, and I think the Yankees recognize that. So I want to make sure that this episode is dedicated to the fact that Aaron Boone is a better manager than what we give him credit for. Now, is he out of the woods? Probably not. He's a Yankees manager.
No,
but
he's not out of the woods.
We will leave those arguments for a later day.
The Yankees, next up, they have the reigning NL champion Arizona Diamondbacks. What is expected to be of this is that, and obviously things can change, and we've seen it. Heel is supposed to get the start tomorrow. You'll probably be watching this tomorrow, so today, I guess. Heel is supposed to get the start tomorrow for the Diamondbacks. Time difference could play a factor. Yankees are going to be in 3 different time zones, going from, of course, in Florida, playing in Tampa during, spring training, then going to Houston, now going to Arizona. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but playing at 9:40 is a little bit of an adjustment, I guess. At least for the first game. I'm excited for Heel. He's got Nelson on the other side.
Oh, this is Ryan Nelson. I mean, Ryan Nelson's gotten hit around a little bit. I know Arizona still believes in him. He's a 26-year-old kid. He's still young, right? I mean, he's got the arm, but
game 2 is the one that I'm worried about.
Yeah. Game 2 is the game we should be worried about. So let's just be honest. Let's go win game 1.
Is one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Yeah,
and I think he might be the best in the NL.
Yeah, I mean, I would either place it under Corbin Burns, who now is in the American League, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely agree, especially Zach Gallen at home. Zach Gallen at home is just nasty. Okay?
He's disgusting. And
he's gross.
He's consistent, which is a big thing. You're going to have those high-low pitchers, and when you have 162 games, you'll face a guy who's, having his best whatever. But Zach Gallen is more often than not going to give you 6, 7 innings. Could go 8, could even go 9. I mean, he's deadly. Then you have Merrill Kelly, who had a really nice, albeit it was the Colorado Rockies, but he had a really nice,
Game doesn't count. Game does not count.
6 2/3.
I'm kidding.
8 strikeouts. I mean, Merrill Kelly's good. He'll be facing Rodon. That's going to be a 3:40 p.m. game. So that's a little different, but you have back-to-back 9:40 p.m. games.
Wait a minute. I thought Nestor Cortez pitched game 2 of this series.
He
I wrong?
does. Rodon is facing Kelly.
Okay, so that's the game I just don't like. I do not like that matchup at all because Nestor Cortez is
second. No, I know. Game 2 is evil. They are losing that game. I do not like it. Hey, we call it like it is here. I called 4 wins, right? Said they'd win. I think they lose. So I think they're going to go 5-0. I think Heel is going to get it done. I think Heel's going to look better than any of the starters outside of Stroman. That's my prediction.
Oh, I like that. Well, he's got the best stuff. I mean, let's be honest.
I think Heel is going to get a lot of confidence because here's the thing. He's just building off of what he did in spring training. Now, the issue the Yankees could run into is that Heel might be a little rusty because they used him as their 5th starter. That wasn't his natural rotation based on where he was in spring training. You know what I mean?
So it was what we asked Stroman to do, but he said he wasn't comfortable doing it. But we did it to Heel.
We did it to Heel. Okay. So whatever Heel does, he deserves double credit for working on, you could say extra rest. I just look at it like a guy's in a rhythm and you just took him out of it. So
we'll give him some slack.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see some good stuff out of Heel. You said, Ryan Nelson is the guy he's going up against. I mean, my thing is Arizona is not a team to screw around with. They put 16 on Colorado, and I understand it's Colorado, but they have offense. They have an offense. Going back to that 16-1 game, which I mean, you were making jokes about during one of our shows. Zach Gallen only pitched 5 innings because he didn't have to do anything else. So keep that in mind. He's going to be really rested, in my opinion. That was the first game of the year going up against Kyle Freeland, who gave up 10 earned runs.
Still somehow Kyle Freeland is earning opening day starts. That makes sense.
Everyone's talking about the Athletics, but maybe they should be worried about the Rockies selling. Anyway, looking at the Diamondbacks, you got Marte, right? You got Carroll. You got Gurriel. So they have a murder's row of guys too. And that's the thing is that Corbin Carroll is not hitting like Corbin Carroll's going to be hitting this year. So this could be the series because it's early on in the season. This is going to be the series where he just gets it together and he's dangerous. And I don't have to tell you that,
Right. You know what I would say, though, the adjustment is in this series, and I think the thing we need to pay attention to for our starters. So this is really important for guys like Nestor Cortez, and I do like the way that Nestor holds runners on, but Arizona runs. Okay, that is completely different than Houston.
Yeah.
If you paid attention to this Houston series, and Marcus Stroman illustrated it perfectly. Okay, Marcus Stroman, he walked 2 guys. He essentially intentionally walked those guys that he was walking. Okay. There were 2 outs. Guys like Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker were coming up. He was picking his matchups. He was getting outs early. Get out number 1. Bases are empty. Get out number 2. Bases are empty. Now I have an opportunity to not let Yordan Alvarez get in a rhythm in this series. I can just put him on base and pitch to the next guy. And I can nibble, walk the next guy, and then pitch to an opportunistic matchup. You can't do that against the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm not saying that we're going to get run off the field by Arizona because that's not going to happen either. But here's what you can't do. You can't say, well, I don't want to pitch to Corbin Carroll, so I'm going to start picking around him. No, Corbin Carroll is most dangerous when he's at first base. It's not this matter of he'll just leave the park. He can do that too. But the Diamondbacks are at their best when they're clogging the bases with guys who can run. And if you know about Alek Thomas, he's running. Okay. If you know about Perdomo, he's running. Corbin Carroll running. Ketel Marte running. They're a team that's going to hit and run with guys like
Gurriel can run. He could also knock it out of the park.
They're going to be doing hit and runs. You saw us do that against Houston today with a nice little hit and run and winning the game. Arizona is going to be trying to do that left and right. Doesn't mean it'll work. Maybe not. But based on the matchups, Arizona has to be feeling confident about who we're putting out there in terms of starting pitching and what they're attempting to do, because Nestor Cortez is a fastball guy. He's a guy who wants to work in off the plate, throw backdoor cutters, and he gives up a lot of fly balls. So frankly, in a hitter's park like Arizona, it could be a problem. So I guess we're going to see where the Yankees go and what Boone does.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated about this because the Yankees and Diamondbacks are essentially flipping. You know, they're doing the exact opposite. The Diamondbacks are coming from an awful team that they just basically pulverized. I mean, they lost one game, but 3-1 in the series. I mean, that's really good. They're coming back from an awful team that they beat. And then the Yankees are coming back beating a team that a lot of people have probably winning the AL this year. So when you factor that in, I think this is a good barometer for both teams. The Yankees are playing the NL reigning champions, and the Diamondbacks are finally playing what looks to be a good team. So it'll be good for both sides. Gurriel is going to be a problem, though. He is hitting very well right now. He has 3 home runs. He's batting .471, 10 RBIs. Soto has what, 6? He's got 10. Yeah. So this guy is really, he's on. And then you look at this team and their OPS is over, 1,000 anyway. So that's pretty crazy in itself. I think the Diamondbacks are once again going to be really good this year.
They are. So they're unfortunately in the same division with the Dodgers, which, could mean nothing at the end of the year because the Diamondbacks have shown they can beat anybody.
Well, and the Dodgers have shown that they can lose to anybody. And so it doesn't matter. It
might be the most true thing we've said on this show so far.
Yeah. So the Yankees here, they're going to play a really good Diamondbacks team. I think this is a good sign. Get these guys out of the way now. And it's like, okay, even if this series goes not the way you want, you're still 4-3 because of the, great job you did taking care of business on the road against the Astros. That's a lot easier said than done. And so I think when you look at just what's to come, you got obviously the Diamondbacks there, and then you're going to get that rest on Thursday. That's a huge, huge rest for them. And really what they could do with that rest, because of course, Stroman is not expected to pitch until they get to Yankee Stadium, but they could also mix around the rotation. And that's what I am going to be very interested to see, whether or not they do something like that with the day off, because that would be the time to do it.
I don't know if I enjoy that. I think that this early in the season, when you're trying to get camaraderie, which we've obviously been building, but you're also trying to build up guys' bodies, and you're trying to make sure that we saw how volatile getting thrown off schedule can be just last year alone with Carlos Rodon. Okay. He dealt with a little injury out the gate, and he just never felt like he was the Carlos Rodon that he was just accustomed to. And in my opinion, if we feel like we have an extra day's rest and maybe we can manipulate the schedule to give another guy a day, whatever that is, in my opinion, or flipping the rotation, my opinion is that the Yankees should use that as an opportunity to bring a guy like Clayton Beeter onto the rotation and basically have a start. Okay.
And well, that's what I was thinking is you bring in a guy, he is essentially a placeholder starter, and it allows you to flip if you want to make any sort of move with the rotation, now you have that day off, then Clayton Beeter.
And you're saying keep it on schedule, just bring somebody up in place. Okay, I agree with that. I see. Okay.
And I think, it's early on, right? If this was going to happen with the Yankees, because they're not typically a team that just plays, whatever. I mean, this would be closer to Cole. Like, Cole is expected to be back for the Giants series at SBC June 1st. So if he's back for that Giants series, which is good, by the way, the Giants should be a good team this year. I mean, you get a day off looking into the future here. You get a day off on a Monday before you go to that West Coast. Actually, you're already on the West Coast. You got Seattle, San Diego. So you have Seattle at Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
Then you go to San Diego on May 24th. You have 3 games there. Then you have a day off, and you go and you play the Angels on the road. Then you have no day off, and you go straight to San Francisco. So my thinking is right around that time, they could do something like that with Cole coming back around that time. If not, they might choose not to pitch Cole in that series, because what they have there is they'll be coming back to, well, not back to the East Coast, but not on the West Coast, essentially.
Right.
They'll be coming, well, no, they will. So they'll be coming back to Yankee Stadium against Minnesota, right? So after that, San Francisco Giants, May 31st, June 1st, June 2nd, 3-game set, they have a break on Monday, June 3rd. They might opt to just wait for Cole, right? So June 1st, I know, was the date and not actually the date. I could see Monday, day off, Cole pitches at Yankee Stadium, his debut of the year against Minnesota, June 4th, and they build the rotation. They kind of change the rotation around based on that.
Okay, I mean, I can see that I can see your method there, but
Yeah.
I will say that my anticipation for Gerrit Cole, and we have to remember what Gerrit Cole was feeling. And at the beginning of the year and in spring training, Gerrit Cole essentially told us that he felt like his arm wasn't recovering after starts. Not necessarily feeling pain, but feeling like the way I feel after the end of a start, when I wake up the next day, I don't feel right. Doesn't feel good. And I've talked to plenty of pitchers. I played baseball. They tell you I feel horrendous. But wait till day 2. Wait till day 3, 4, and 5. And by the time they get to day 4, they're saying, I'm ready to go. I'm chomping at the bit to get back on the mound. My arm feels good. But at that point, Gerrit Cole was saying, just doesn't feel like it's recouping the same way that it always does. Now, that injury and the way he's describing that, my assumption is that the Yankees are going to be very careful with not only how much they pitch him, but where. And when you bring Gerrit Cole to Yankee Stadium and having a home start, it provides pressure that's more unnecessary on Aaron Boone to make decisions that are not good for his health. In my opinion, the Yankees should bring him back much slower than what they're suggesting. I know they've said that June 1st.
I agree with that, by the way.
Rough estimate. I think that if the Yankees continue to play strong, you should bring him back slower, basically slower, and you should be allowing him to come in and go 40 pitches. Spring training again. He's going full spring training mode. You're going to give us 40 pitches. Gerrit Cole essentially is a super opener. He's going to throw 3 innings and come out the game. 3.5 innings, come out the game. Because if the Yankees have as much pitching depth in their system as they say, they've got guys to make up for it in the short term, because that's what we're asking for. Short-term help until Gerrit Cole's ready. I don't want to see Gerrit Cole showing up to Yankee Stadium and then people have this expectation that he's going to come in and shut down the Giants or shut down this team. That's not how we're going to make this work. We're going to make this work by the other guy stepping up, and then Gerrit Cole shows up and he's a piece to that. Okay? Aces don't win championships. Great teams make championships, and he's part of a great team. So I just hesitate to even try to project when he's going to come back. I just want him to show up and take baby steps, because in October, I won't be talking about baby steps, hopefully. Hopefully I'm talking about Gerrit Cole showing up and throwing 118 pitches and putting us on his back, and then watching Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Anthony Volpe taking postseason at bats. That's what I'm hoping for. So I just hesitate to put schedules on this stuff. And I know you're not really putting hard deadlines, but the point is that I just hesitate to look at, well, we're in San Francisco that day and all that stuff, because Gerrit Cole, if it means missing all of June for Gerrit Cole to properly reacclimate himself into the Yankees organization, so be it. So I just hope that we don't put any unnecessary pressure. And so far, winning 4 games in a row to start the year, that's a pretty good reason to slow play it.
So the Yankees play the Dodgers Friday, June 7th, Saturday, June 8th, and Sunday, June 9th. Is that a game that you and I will be going to?
I will be there.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that'll be, we'll circle, because I mean, that's just, those are huge. Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Yamamoto. I mean, that it's kind of funny that I mentioned Minnesota, because theoretically, would the Yankees just save Cole to go up against the Dodgers? Probably.
It would be cool. I mean, I will say this. If his body is right and we're not pushing him to that point, because I tell you right now, I'm not gonna push Gerrit Cole's body and risk because obviously we signed him to a 9-year, $324 million contract.
Oh, yeah, and he's been
We're
worth
not
every
gonna
penny.
jeopardize
You're
that.
not trying to jeopardize that at all.
We're not trying to jeopardize it for that matchup.
And you're not winning
if,
a World Series without a healthy Cole. That's another thing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So we don't
no,
want to push it. But if he is right, my God, would I want to be at Would I want to be at Dodger Stadium for that? We're going to that. So we might as well.
No, that's at Yankee Stadium. Are you going to Yankee Stadium?
Well, I'll go to Yankee Stadium. I mean, you don't have to ask me.
Yeah.
But
so
if
Yankee
it was at Dodger Stadium, I
was
would actually be happier, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's closer to you, further to me. But
I feel like Dodger Stadium's just better.
Really?
Yeah, no offense, Yankees Twitter or Yankees YouTube. No.
Oh my God.
I think Dodger Stadium's just freak. It's in the worst location you've ever seen. Like it couldn't be harder to get to. But no, Dodger Stadium, especially at night, is sick. It just so happens that
I love the new Yankee Stadium though.
It is good. No, new Yankee Stadium is awesome. I think old Yankee Stadium has the edge for anyone who went there. And I'm sure
like
some will
Yankee
agree.
Stadium.
But
I like
Dodger
Fenway,
Stadium
to be honest with you. I know that's like sacrilegious to like the Red Sox ballpark, but it's great. I like ballparks in general. I'd love to go to PNC in Pittsburgh at some point.
There's a lot of good parks out there. PNC is one of them. San Diego's awesome. But of course, San Diego, Petco Park is right downtown. I mean, come on. San Diego weather.
San Diego, like that's beautiful.
You go get
I've been to Turner Field.
Burrito.
I like Turner Field.
I haven't been to the new one.
I've never been to Camden Yards.
Oh, Camden's great.
I heard
you're not gonna like Baltimore. I'd say that.
No, I'm not a Baltimore fan, but yeah, Camden Yards, Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. I mean, that always looked cool. I mean, keep in mind, what am I talking about? I've seen it on TV and video games. So like, I don't actually know what Kauffman Stadium is, but I mean, just seeing it, all I know is that the Trop is the worst by far. Tropicana is awful. It's not even baseball. And I have been to Citi Field. I also went to Shea. And I'll say Citi Field, I can't say because I saw Green Day there. I've never seen a baseball game at Citi Field. So I could not tell you.
Okay. Citi Field's good.
Yeah, I saw Shea. So when I went to Shea Stadium, it was back when like Jose Reyes was on the Mets, David Wright, and a young Miguel Cabrera came up to the plate for Florida. The Florida Marlins. I know some people are like, Florida Marlins? You mean Miami? Yeah, that long ago. And I remember walking in, third inning, because my dad and I were going to go see the Yankees play. I think it was, I want to say the Blue Jays back at the old stadium. Your dad hit like a freaking missile, like
sounds
down
about right.
The left field foul pole. It was insane. In the game that we went to, but the night before, my dad's like, let's just go to a Mets game. Just decided to. So third inning, I walk in and I just see Miguel Cabrera now batting. Miguel Cabrera hits just this bomb off the like immediately, and I was just like, wow. And that was the first like game that I really remembered until I went to the Yankee game. But that it's funny, that just brought me back. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of these different games that I'd be down to go to for sure, and a lot of ballparks I want to visit. The Trop is just not one of them.
Yeah, no, we'll be at Yankee Stadium in June. We'll go.
Cool. So Yankee Stadium in June. Hopefully we'll meet some of you guys. LA Dodgers taking on the Yankees. And I mean, covering the Rams and all, I'm going to have a lot of Dodgers fans that are like mad at me. I don't care.
Oh, that's just people on Twitter. They don't exist in the real world. They don't matter. There's cool people on Twitter, but baseball Twitter is not where you go for education or people that are cool. That's where the nerds go to chit chat.
Hey,
and don't get me wrong, I'm on Twitter, but
yeah, we're both. And hey, I mean, you do have people like Connor Foley at Yes who post things like the thing I sent you yesterday. Number of pitches seen by Yankees in 2024. I'm like, I love you people. Like that's the type of stuff I'm interested in. Yep. With that said, though, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It's been another fun episode, episode 8, actually, if you're not counting the other videos that we're going to do. If you haven't already, check out our video on Jake Cousins if you want to get to know him a little bit. Appreciate everyone, all the new subscribers and everything. You know, we're just going to keep putting out content on a daily basis, like legitimately a daily basis. So
we're getting a TikTok too. We're working on it.
We're working on all that. Be sure to follow us at Yankees Unloaded on all social media. Follow Gary at Gary Sheffield Jr. on social media, and follow me at JK Bogan on all social media. We'll be back tomorrow because the Yankees have another date against the Arizona Diamondbacks. But until then, you guys take care, and we'll see you guys soon.
And like this video.